This demonstration will show you how you can quickly and efficiently create clones of any production database on your NetApp system. For this example, I'll be using the AdventureWorks database here, which resides on an SMB share. Whether it resides on an SMB share or a block protocol makes no difference to this process. In Snapmanager, select the Restore tab. From here, we're presented with the clone wizard, and we can run through the steps in here. You're presented with three options. The first option is to create a clone from an existing backup set. These could be your hourlies or daily snapshots. This is useful for when your development cycles are daily or weekly and you want to use a consistent point for the week. The second option will allow you to actually create in real time a snapshot and mount that snapshot when the job is run. This last option will delete any clone databases you have on the system and is useful for housekeeping at the end of the week or at the end of a development lifecycle. In this example, I'll be generating the snapshot in real time when I run the job, so I'll select this option. This next screen allows me to choose which database or databases I want to clone. As mentioned earlier, I'll be using the AdventureWorks SMB share. From here, I can select what management group the snapshot goes into. For my development lifecycles, I'll be using standard backup in this example. I'll also make sure that the transaction log is backed up, and I'll keep 7 days worth. As I've created a new snapshot, I get some options around the up-to-the-minute restorability for that snapshot. As I created a new snapshot, I'm presented with options around how to name that snapshot, whether I use generic or unique naming convention. I'm also given options around the verification process and the transaction log backup as well. I'm quite happy to go with the defaults in this example. This screen allows me to name the clone I'm going to create as part of this process. Here I'll simply use _dev. I'm now asked where I would like to mount the clone. This could, for example, be the same server or a different server, for example, your development SQL servers in your environment. Before mounting the clone to the dev environment, I can actually run a verification process. In this example, it's unnecessary, so I'll select no. If I had a DR site or a second NetApp system, I could actually snap mirror off site and select these options here to make sure that once my backup has been generated on primary, it will actually move across to my secondary site automatically. I also have some archiving options for longer term retention here. Secondary storage is using SnapVault technology, and that allows us to retain snapshots for a longer period on either a separate area of storage. I'm presented with some options about the restore. I'm happy to go with the defaults again. I'm now presented with the clone lifecycle management screen. Here, I can enable the clone to resynchronize according to the schedule I put in here. If, for example, my developers work on a 24-hour or a daily basis, then I can select here to resynchronize the clone every day. I can also go as far as specifying the exact time to do the resynchronization. This is great for repeatable life cycles. I also have some options around clone auto deletion as well. So if this is a clone that I only want to exist on a weekly basis, then I could set its time here. As I want to use the clone straight away, I'll select the first option here. This will ensure that the database is mounted and online for operations. And again, here's a useful component for running scripts as part of pre or post command of the clone. Previously, as a customer, this was useful for when we couldn't work in development environments with live customer data. So we would actually run a scramble script here, which would work on the clone and move customers' first names, surnames, and addresses around to be scrambled so that we could work on sample data. I'm presented with a summary of my actions, and I'll kick the job off. You'll notice that the snapshot has been created already. And most importantly, that snapshot has not affected production. So any end users or applications that were running against that database continue normal operations. There we have it. I've successfully cloned a production database very quickly, and most importantly, without consuming the same space as the original. As you can see, within a matter of minutes, I've been able to create a clone of a live production database and mount it fully operationally to my SQL dev environment. Thanks for watching.